Untold centuries ago, the sundial and the wind vane was invented. Since then, man has spent millions of hours and billions of dollars on the scientific forecasting of the weather. No matter how he tries to figure it out, though, scientifically or just using the old farmer's almanac, some things just defy analysis. Man's come up with all kinds of theories and formulas, though, to forecasting the weather. No matter what you call it, it still comes out as the applied chaotic theory. And I quote, "In every given, there's a finite amount of chaos. Take wind forecasting, for example. It's next to impossible, except for a couple of places on the planet. One of them is steeped in ancient northwestern Indian legend. It's called the wind spirit. In one place where the wind spirit dominates the applied chaotic theory is about 60 miles east of Portland, Oregon, where the Columbia River Gorge narrows and forms a venturi that accelerates the cool coastal air being sucked eastward by the hot thermals of the high desert of eastern Oregon. This is where everyone is gone with the windsurfer. Eons ago, when great geological upheavals created the Columbia River Gorge, it was as though some unseen force already knew that someday, someone, somewhere would invent the windsurfer. If you pay attention, you can see the wind spirit as it moves up the Columbia River, spreading its rough blanket of anticipation for the people who come here from all over the world. Because the gorge comes close to disproving the applied chaotic wind theory. In the town of Hood River, Oregon, nothing is immune to the relentless howling summer winds. 10 years ago, you could buy almost any house in town for under $20,000. And now the wind spirit is everywhere and the boom is on. People are moving here to try and earn a living working part-time while sailing most of the time. To sail at the gorge, all you need is a car, a sleeping bag, your sailing gear, no airplane tickets, nothing else except your father's credit card. Must be some of them champion sailor fellows with all that stuff. Yes, the gorge has changed in a decade. Hood River used to be just a truck stop with a lot of empty buildings for rent. To a tourist, it looks like the chaotic theory at its worst. you can buy any kind of grub you want, but no grits. There's no vacancy, no place to park, no place to camp. Nothing is available without reservation. Some people even run their business out of a van, if you can afford a van. Like the Earthboard manufacturing team.
Up until recent history, there's never, ever been another board company in the surfing or windsurfing industry that's ever been nonprofit, environmentally conscious, and plants multiple trees for every board they build. But the first one, the first of its kind, is me and my partner's company, Earthboards.
Wrong. There have been more nonprofit windsurfing companies than profitable ones, and they didn't even plant trees.
Let me show you a couple sticks. And here's the man who builds all the shred sticks.
Hi, yeah. We like to build boards. I do. I've been doing it a long time, and I like the aspect of it. It's a good, fun sport. But right now we're using chemicals and stuff, and we think there's natural stuff that can help us out in building these boards. So why don't you give a word on it, Greg?
Yeah, until we can get to that point, we're doing research and development all the time. We're doing things like recycling the foam dust, recycling the acetone. All the air that leaves our shop, it goes through a gnarly charcoal filter, so it's all clean, nice, clean air. And we're also planting some else.
Yeah, we're doing tree planting and stuff too, because you know, there's a lot of places that need some trees planted, so they're easy to get seedlings and things. So why not plant some trees in places that need it? Because there's been a lot of timber cut down, not in this part of the world, but everywhere else.
And also, we're non-profit, which means at the end of the year, any money we have left over, we donate to environmental groups that not only help out windsurfers and surfers, but everybody and all animals.
You can say what you want about the applied chaotic theory, but those that believe that the wind spirit lives get all of the good parking places at all of the best sailing spots. So when the wind is just right for your 4.0 and the waves at Swell City are perfect, the local ladies are gone with their windsurfers. Champion snow skier Jennifer Wilson lives in and sails out of her van all summer. Ski clothing designer Kay Kuchera sews all winter so she can sail all summer. Patrice Dubnix from Saskatchewan, who lives at the gorge in a trailer, supports herself as a gardener while she sails about 135 days a year. Jennifer is 347 crashes away from completing her first forward somersault. Now there's only 346 left. Okay, Jennifer, we're talking about you so you can take out your earplugs. The applied chaotic theory is best demonstrated when these ladies sail right by the men. It's chaotic because the same wind tools are available to anyone, regardless of age, size, or sex. Before you rig up, you should relax and watch while you make sure your kids are having a good time. Later, you can take out your frustration of wasting time babysitting by pounding on your gear because the wind has now dropped. You can tell how long ago someone took up windsurfing by the color of the umbrella he bought for his spousal equivalent. And your yuppie hot car is wrong for sailing. If you get here early, you can use the grass to rig, and then you can direct your mother so she'll video your every move. You should always eat before you sail. Eat a lot, you look just like your fat father. The road to learning a duck jibe is paved with dumb-looking contraptions. Others on the duck jibe road try yoga and toenail cutting. And there's nothing like being out here rolling your own cigarettes and inhaling that pollution-free Oregon air. Bob Giro grew up near the Love Canal in New York, and he spent his youth as the leader of a motorcycle gang.
A few years ago, I opened up a carpet business when it wasn't vogue to be a carpet layer, or to be a windsurfer. So I called my company Swell City Floor Covering, and the company rule is we work 8 a.m. until 25 knots. All the younger hotshots, they come to town looking to get sponsored by some of the sail companies and board companies so they can get equipment a lot cheaper, and then be a team rider. That's a real status symbol around here. Once you hit a certain age, you get what I call a team slider, which you really can't do too much in the water anymore, so you try to slide in and get all the cheap equipment you can.
And these guys sell cheap equipment.
Earthboards. We're the first non-profit environmental company in the world.
Okay, we're into planting trees and stuff for each product we sell. We sell boards here, and we like to get trees going. And
we also will recycle all our byproducts and our foam and our acetone and everything in the air we emit.
Well, the thing I'm looking at is to actually get away from using this kind of stuff here that needs to be recycled. We should be able to have natural products that'll fill us in on all this without being harmful to the environment and things. And Mother Nature's got all our answers for us, fill needs all the way to medicine and energy.
And Earthboards, the slogan that we live by is surfers for greener, cleaner Earth. And that's what we're all about.
Yeah, because this is one planet we've got, and we've got to take care of her. And she can give us all we need. Fun things like windsurfing and surfing and everything else, all our power. So we got to take care of this one planet we've got here.
And remember, save waves wherever you're at.
Gone with the Windsurfer, with one of the best sailors in the world, Ian Boyd. Ian started sailing when he was only about 8 years old and can do tricks that I can't even describe. as Ian was in the top 5 in World Cup standings when he quit the circuit to go to college. Meanwhile, back at the Bozo Beach Sailing School, the private instructor guru has you tied to a rope to haul you back to reality. That is, after you've been through the simulator grinder. The smart instructor will launch you in an area where you have to paddle at least 200 yards just to get to the wind line, so you'll be exhausted before you even start sailing. Once there, it's up to you. In your first lesson, all you learn is how to carry your sail to and then stagger from the water. Your second lesson teaches you strategic rock bumping. The third lesson, downriver drifting. By your fourth lesson, you've bought high-tech adjustable booms, but the directions are printed in French. To think you could be driving a golf cart in a pair of purple pants and a yellow sweater instead of looking like the before in an exercise commercial. I've had Olympic athletes tell me that their first week of windsurfing is the single most frustrating thing they've ever tried to learn. Meanwhile, back at the Tree Planter non-profit earthboard company.
Yeah, Earthboards. We're the first of our kind non-profit environmental company.
Okay, we like to do things like plant some trees for every product we sell.
We also like to recycle all our byproducts.
And I think in the future that we have natural replacements that are clean and environmentally friendly products to build things like this to have fun with the planet and just shred with Mother Nature here.
Earthboards, remember, surfers for a greener, cleaner Earth.
And we've all got to be together in this because otherwise Mother Nature won't take care of us.
You know it. That's it. Kill it.
The wind spirit's always on Scotty Fletcher's shoulder because he has to steer his barge under a bridge with towers that are about 120 feet apart, and his barge is 85 feet wide, and it's 650 feet long. That's wider than and as long as 2 football fields and a couple of end zones. It's 35 feet high and travels almost 9 miles an hour. It can carry a couple of million gallons of high-octane gasoline or maybe 14,000 tons of scrap iron or paper, maybe logs or sand, gravel, wood chips, or anything that has to move back and forth to the Pacific Ocean on the Columbia River. The wind spirit helps Scotty dodge windsurfers who are trying to dodge back and forth in front of him at almost 30 miles an hour.
Well, here comes one now, so we'll give them our first warning like we usually do. That tends to be the first warning, and as they get a little closer, we end up blowing the whistle again, and the closer they get, the more frantic the whistle gets, and I end up steering right, and he goes left and I go left, or we go right and he goes right, and we start slowing down more, and hopefully we'll go the opposite direction he will. Usually it works out, but there's sometimes that you never know. They end up, one of these days, they'll just end up as fish bait that all you can do is hope to miss them, and just try.
Try 14,000 tons.
Well, I think they ought to pay a lot more attention to, instead of just trying us to see how close they can come. I think they ought to try to stay away and give us a better chance, because going upstream with a heavy tow, a couple million gallons of diesel or stove oil or gasoline, we can't stop because the barges will break apart. And I'll be damned if I'm going to put a couple million gallons of diesel and gasoline in the river just for some dummy that wants to see how good he is.
The guy who's no dummy is Tony Barbieri, alias Sergeant Luke. Sailing for 9 years, Tony's worked his way up by innovative sailing until today he spends almost as much time in the air as he does on the water. When Tony started trying to do forward loops, he landed his first 4. Then he crashed on his next 137 tries. Some witnesses have seen him do as many as 8 loops on a single reach across the Columbia. Now when the wind spirit's right, waves are high enough at Swell City, Tony's been known to pull double forward. His ambition? Do a triple. But to do that, he'll have to go to Maui to get enough air off of a big wave. Next spring, when the surf's big and the wind will be just right, Tony's already hired his cameraman to film his first triple. In the meantime, back at Bozo Beach. Lester's bought the wetsuit and the board. He's being blown downwind while trying to master the intricacies of the splay-footed steering. It's okay so far. Now comes the hard part, paddling back to where he started. Watch that gooseneck. Windsurfing really gets difficult when you add the sail. Lester doesn't know how to swim, so he sails in shallow water. He only feels safe when his fin is stuck in the mud. To the non-sailor, the applied chaotic theory seems to rule the gorge. When you're tuned into that old Indian legend, the wind spirit, he'll find you. He's a form of energy, a force that you can't see, but you can feel. Tune into him. Spend some time feeling his caresses. For each day, each hour you spend sailing, you become better acquainted with the wind spirit. Here's a man who's really acquainted with him, Phil Lorimer. In 1975, Phil wasn't paying a lot of attention to how he was driving at about 50 miles an hour when a car swerved in front of him and he crashed his motorcycle. It slid under the car and his left leg was cut off above the knee. He was lucky because he had doctors who told him he could still lead a normal life if he wanted to. They told him his only limit was what he wanted to do with his life. After 3 years of ski racing, a friend took him windsurfing. Love at first jibe. It was a longboard on a lake with light winds, and it gave Phil the freedom he lost when he lost his leg. Now, Phil never thought he'd ever sail on a short board, much less do a water start. A water start feels as though you go from being a one-legged frog to becoming Superman in a matter of seconds. Phil Lorimer's always a Superman in my book. He's never a one-legged frog, even though he does sail with his fiberglass leg full of foam so it won't sink. Phil Lorimer. And I ask you, what's the limit of what you want to do with your life? The Northwest Indians believe the wind spirit was born here in the gorge, and legend has it that he took for his bride the northwest wind. And then his family began to grow and travel all over the world. A world that's 3/4 water. A world where the wind now blows 80% of the time. And in the winter, when the Columbia River is freezing cold and the wind's howling out of Alaska, it also blows continuously for thousands of miles to the southwest. With each mile and each hour of its attack against the ocean, it makes the waves rise higher and higher until they crash on the north shore of Maui, Hawaii, with a violence it's hard to believe. It's a scientific fact that the energy of a wave extends as far below the surface of the ocean as the wave is high. And when that submerged energy portion of a wave strikes the shallow water of a reef, it tumbles forward. And the depth and the shape of the reef dictates the very few places in the world that are perfect for surfing. A sport that was invented in Hawaii and used to be reserved for Hawaiian royalty only. Surfboards used to be 11 feet long and weighed about 100 pounds. Then in 1946, fiberglass replaced varnish Foam replaced redwood, and the boards shrunk in weight and size until today they weigh as little as 6 or 8 pounds, and they're as short as 5 feet. It was here at Hookipa, Maui that Mike Waltz first nailed a mast to the nose of a short board and has since become the epicenter of the sport as we know it today. When men like Waltz and Boyd and Kalama and Angulo and Nash aren't traveling the world on the contest circuit, they spend their days sailing in this perfect place. A place designed millions of years ago by the wind spirit in cooperation with the local kahuna, and just waiting for Hoyle Schweitzer to invent the windsurfer 25 years ago. These sailors are as good as the best athletes in the NBA or the NFL. However, their court's never the same size 2 days in a row. It's constantly changing, and they have only one rule. Go for it every time you're in the water. Speed in 30+ mile an hour range. Last summer, another camera crew was working here, and they kept talking the helicopter pilot into getting lower and lower, until a windsurfer, doing a flip off of a big wave, had the top 3 feet of his mast cut off by the helicopter blade. There are many sides to Maui, and a fun side is the round the island rental car ride. You can go clockwise around the island with the tourists, or counterclockwise without traffic. The south side of Maui is a very dry desert retirement community, except they've paved over their lap pool and made it into a shuffleboard court. For some reason, non-sailors fly thousands of miles to Maui to hit a ball every 10 minutes or so, and then get into an electric cart to go look for it, and then try and hit it again. Shopping? One of the many malls in Lahaina has 160,000 square feet of air-conditioned shops under one roof. Now you can go home with a t-shirt for everyone in your hometown and never get sunburned or even sweat. If you don't gain a pound a day while you're here, you have to stay another week. Chances are you'll have a radio in your rented Jeep or convertible that broadcasts the wind and surf report every hour. And when the Kona wind is blowing, Kihei is the place where you can watch them go fast. Lisa Newberger, Angie Renfro, Lisa Latarte. All put together, these three hotshot girls don't weigh as much as one middle linebacker for the Buffalo Bills. On Maui, the wind spirit usually sleeps late until about 11:30 in the morning. It's part of the arrangement with the local kahuna. That way, the surfers can have the big waves all to themselves at least half the time. Today, there's a renaissance in longboards because the young surfers are getting older and their waistlines increase an inch with each birthday after the age of 30. But when the really big surf comes and the North Shore closes out, almost everyone is stuck on shore except one windsurfer. That mast is 16 feet high and the wave is 6 or 8 feet over the top of it. Surfers, however, will call these waves about 6 or 8 feet high. But then surfers tend to exaggerate almost everything. Now for the bad news. A mistake while riding a wave at Hookipa can result in a half-hour-long swim to shore, where the 4 or 5 knot riptides keep you swimming while your gear keeps breaking. There's no romantic Hawaiian Island sand beach here, just good old-fashioned killer rocks. Let's see now. A new lightweight Kevlar and styrofoam board with a dozen phasers costs about $1,600 plus tax. A special custom-made high-performance fin, about $250. New lightweight boom, as much as $300 or $400. And that new special wave slalom sail you just bought was $575. Okay, now for the good news. You have medical insurance for your body. If you wait long enough, the board just might float to you. A friend of mine waited here a week and a half and it never did arrive. There are guys here who will retrieve your gear for you. Once they retrieve what's left of it, they'll relieve you of 2 or 3 20s before they let you retrieve your gear from them. Fortunately for you, the rocks are about 6 feet high, so you can hunker down between them when a swell hits you. My first time on a reef like this, I landed on a colony of sea urchins and became an endangered species. Now, I wonder what the rental shop is going to say about this guy's stuff. Fujikawa Sakamura had flown all the way from Tokyo for his honeymoon and to teach his new bride how to ride waves. Neither one of them made it. The riptides at Hookipa are so strong, they can rip your clothes right off. Told you. And there's more good news. When you finally fly home, you can put all the remains in a duffel bag, and you won't have to pay the $75 extra to ship your board, mast, boom, and sail. If you somehow survive and the wind drops, you can put your gear in your car and go to yet another spot and put on a bigger sail and go high-speed reaching with film again. When you're out here with the wind spirit in your heart and flying about 35 miles an hour, there's nothing in the world like it. Total freedom. And when you go this fast, you're scared to death. And the wind spirit knows this and will say, okay, let's hit that guy with a stronger puff. Give him another nudge so he has to go even faster. Only 5 years ago, the world speed record was about 30 miles an hour. Last year in France, it was raised to 51.43 miles an hour. I'm a very lucky person. I built my first surfboard in 1938 and remember the first time I stood up on it and rode a wave. That 11-foot-long surfboard had a spirit all its own. I rented my first windsurfer a dozen or so years ago, and it too had a spirit all its own. A spirit that combined the best of everything I've ever tried to do in my life. But I knew that it had a spirit that could never be completely tamed. It knew no boundaries of gravity, or wind velocity, or snow conditions, or height of waves. The windsurfer was created by the wind spirit for people like you and I. And no matter how much time you spend on your board, there's always 1,000 more things for you to learn. With the wind spirit in your board and in your heart, 3/4 of the world is now your playground. You can never tame it, but you can sure enjoy it. There's no language barrier here, there's no rules. There's just an understanding courtesy amongst this less than 30-year-old sport. The wind by itself is a quiet spirit. Recognize, though, that it is a spirit. For many, it's even a religion. Why else would people trade everything they own for a quiver of sails and an airplane ticket to yet another perfect place to sail? A place that's free of pollution, free of crowds or limits of any kind. Your only limit's your own freedom of expression when your telephone answering machine like mine might simply say, "I'm sorry, Warren's gone with the windsurfer and I don't know when he'll be back." When you hear the tone, please leave your message. Your call might or might not be returned if and when he ever comes back.
I was down on the beach the other day to go do a little of that windsurfing, and I seen this rig down on there, and a guy, and everything was lime green. But a lot of us locals call it slime green, and then somebody once said it was some kind of disease. First it started with a foot strap, then it kind of slithered down and got on a mast pad, and then it kind of grew and went up and got on a sail, and then came down and got onto a boom, and then it got onto this poor guy's hand, onto his glove, and then went up his wetsuit and got on his helmet and down on his shoes, and for all you know, he might even have got on his underwear. And I think he had a terminal case of it, this guy. Whew. It was awesome. And I'm colorblind myself, and it scared me.
Earthboards, surfers for a greener, cleaner Earth.
That's right, because we've only got one Earth. Let's
You
take
know
care
it.
of it.
All right.
Should I squish it? Ugh, it lived. How could it do that? No bug is that strong.
Okay. Our concept, besides just recycling boards and our byproducts, we believe in recycling all the time. Take, for instance, our van here, the recycler van. We got recycled bed here, carpeting, wood, got all out of a dumpster. It's still usable. The racks that hold the boards inside are recycled PVC pipe. The front of the van is a recycled cherry strainer grill. Anything that anybody can use again can be recycled. Recycling is the future. Remember, Earth stands for one thing: environmental awareness rules tomorrow's Homo sapiens. End of discussion. It.